Amazon lists close to 100 books about the Ohio State Buckeye football team. The newest offering is Bill Rabinowitz's Buckeye Rebirth, Urban Meyer, an inspired team in a new era at Ohio State. Earlier this week, the Columbus Dispatch writer gave us a sneak peek into the latest book in the Buckeye canon.
Well, what I tried to do was not have it just be a rehash of the 2012 season. Everyone knows what happened in the games last year. What I tried to do was go behind the scenes and talk to Urban Meyer at length, talk to his wife for 3 hours. I talked to every assistant coach. I talked to almost every important player on the team. I really tried to explain why this happened, why this season happened, not just what happened, but how and why. And I delve into Urban Meyer's background. I interviewed Tom Lichtenberg, who unfortunately died a few months after I talked to him, and talked to him about how he hired him as a GA for Ohio State, how he got his start. So I tried to go as far back as I could. I'm convinced that there are a lot of things in there that nobody knows because nobody had the access that I was able to get in doing this book.
And a lot of those interviews happened after the season was over, so a chance for the players and the coaches to gain a little perspective on what really happened.
Exactly. What I tried to do was not rely on my reporting that I did for the Dispatch during the year. I would say 99% of the quotes in the book are fresh quotes from the interviews I did specifically for the book. So I really believe that it's fresh. I think the stories that in there are stories that haven't been told before. John Simon went through heroic measures to try to play in the Michigan game, for example. Before the Purdue game, Kenny Guyton had an event in his personal life that I'll let people read about and find out what that was. But yeah, I think there are a lot of things in there that for Ohio State fans, they're going to learn a lot about the team. And what I also tried to do was for people who are not big football fans, who maybe aren't Ohio State fans at all. My wife's not a football fan. I tried to write a book that they will like too because it's about people, it's about overcoming adversity. I really think it's hopefully just a good read.
Speaking of John Simon, obviously every season's got its magical moments, but one of the first magical moments for Ohio State was after the Cal game last year with Simon's impassioned speech. Right,
absolutely. He got up after that game and spoke to the team. He had played through a horrible shoulder injury, and he's a kind of a strong silent type, but he got up after that game and gave this impassioned speech about what it meant to him to play for the Buckeyes, to play with these teammates. And the next day, and this is in the book too, Butler Binotti, the former Ohio State running back, who's now a chaplain or a preacher, spoke to the team and gave kind of a speech that piggybacked on what John Simon had said, and Urban Meyer said that was really a big turning point in the season. So, yeah, the Cal game last year was kind of a turning point in one way, and so, I think that's an interesting chapter.
What do you think is going to surprise folks the most as they read this book?
Well, I think I give a three-dimensional portrayal of Urban Meyer. I give glimpses of him as a father, as a husband, that he's not this very, very intense guy all the time. I mean, that is certainly who he is, but there's another side to him. I think that part of it is kind of illuminating. I think the coaching staff, I think the coaching staff is a real underrated factor in the success of the team, and I tell stories about all of those guys. Mike Vrabel and Luke Fickell were very close to not being on that staff. Tom Herman, it was like the opposite story of Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel was obviously a highly successful pro career and jumped into Ohio State as his first coaching job and almost didn't keep it because of his inexperience. Whereas Tom Herman played at a Division III school in California, had no connections. In fact, what he did, I'll give you this tidbit, he used to go to Goodwill and buy shoes and send them along with his resume and basically say, I'm just trying to get my foot in the door. So, those are the kind of tidbits that you find in the book. And I do think that, like I said, for Ohio State fans who think they know what happened last year, this will tell them a lot that they didn't know. And for people who just want to read a good story, an interesting story, hopefully an inspirational story, I think that this is a good read for them.
Bill mentioned the intensity of Urban Meyer. You can see that right there on the cover of the book. Picked it up on Monday afternoon, had it finished by Tuesday night. Strongly recommended. A fantastic read. Certainly thanks to Bill Rabinowitz for giving us a little sneak peek into that.